everybody, and welcome to another episode of A Blind Guy,
His wife,
and Their Life. I've been blind for over 20 years, and people always have different questions that might be pressing on their minds. Sometimes they ask, sometimes they don't. We'll share some of those questions and answer them with you today. But don't forget, make sure that you like, subscribe, give us the thumbs up button, and make a comment. All those will help with the algorithm. So today what we're going to talk about is how cash rules everything around me and how I manage my cash and how I learned a hard lesson thanks to a con artist cab driver.
oh yeah, I forgot about that cab driver. Corey uses cash. He also uses cards. But whenever he's using a ride to get to work or back in the day to get to school when he was at university, then he would use cash. They preferred cash. So you want to give them an idea of like what happened on that story. And that's also the reason why you now use just $5 bills and $1 bills, like after that, right?
Right. The story started out, I was running off to class and the campus was right up the street. We moved there strategically because I was still in school, and the paratransit system then wasn't quite as reliable as it is now, so I didn't want to be late. So my backup was to catch a cab. $5, that's all it took. Laquita usually brings me cash from the bank, or the ATM machine, automatic teller machine, and she actually ordered from the grocery store, bring cash back. And so this particular day, she said, "All I have is a 20. Just take this and get change." And I said, "Okay, great. This will help me get a cup of coffee too before I go to class." So I get in the car with the cab driver. We pull up to the campus. I know the ride is $5 because I've done this so many times.
Did you forget that you had a 20?
No, I knew I had a 20. I said, "All right, I'm gonna give you a 20. Can you give me 3 5s back?" That way I had my traditional $5 bills that I was used to carrying. Well, the cab driver gave me my change, and I went inside to buy coffee. And when the coffee rang up to be $5, I handed her a bill. She said, "That's a 1." She gave it back. I handed another bill. I showed her the bill. She said, "That's a 1." I showed her the other bill. She said, "That's a 1." And that's when I realized that the cab driver had actually ripped me off, gave me 3 1s instead of giving me 3 5s. So that right there taught me, you know what? Never ever carry anything more than a $5 bill, because if you give somebody a $5 and something costs a $5 bill, something costs $3, they got to give you 2 1s back, regardless.
Well, no matter what it costs, like you're only going to get back singles and change.
Right.
Because like you're saying, with the $10 bill, you're going to get a 5 and some 1, so they could potentially give you all 1s.
Correct. So that's exactly why I only carry $5 bills and $1 bills. Now the question other people ask, well, if you're carrying $5 bills and $1 bills, how do you know which bill is which, and how do you count coins? We're going to show you that right now. In my wallet, I usually keep my $5 bills straight, and then I'll roll my ones together like this, so that you can actually see, so that I can actually determine these are my $5 bills, these are my $1 bills. When it comes to coins, it's all about the edges. It's all like, you know, for the ladies, for your hair, it's all about laying those edges. For me, on the coins, it's all about the edges. You know, the quarters and the dimes have the rough edges. The nickels and the pennies have the smooth edges. Sometimes pennies and nickels can throw me, especially if I'm in a rush, but that's when I have to go by the sides. Each coin has its own texture. It's all about feel. So here, the quarter, it has a rough edge. It's the larger size coin, and I use my fingernails to scrape around the edges. So that's my quarter. That's how I identify that coin. This smaller coin is a dime, and of course it's got the rough edges around so that I can scrape it with my fingernail, and I can still feel that it's a dime. There's another dime right here. Again, the rough edges and the fingernail trick. Let's go for something different here. This is where it gets a little tricky. This is a penny. It's smaller in size than a nickel, and it has a smooth edge like a nickel, but some nickels are small. The older nickels are small as well, so that can trick me up sometimes. So I'll see if I can find a nickel this time. That's another penny, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
All right. This is a nickel. It's a little larger than the penny, and it has that smooth edge, so when I go to feel it, I know it doesn't have any type of texture to it. So it's got that smooth edge, and it's slightly larger than a penny. So if I'm not in a big rush, I'm usually pretty accurate with determining nickels from pennies. But sometimes, again, the older nickels are smaller and not too much bigger than a penny. So those could trip me up sometimes. But that's how I count my coins, by feeling the edges of the coin and feeling the sizes of the coin, so that I can give exact or correct change.
Because you've had a lot of bad experience with cab drivers specifically.
Yeah.
But not as much with the paratransit drivers, right? They seem to be better.
Well, the paratransit drivers, most of them are honest, and they pick you up on a regular basis, so they get to know you, so you become more of a friend to them. So they don't want to take advantage of you. And then I'll just be honest, they also have cameras on them. So they have a camera on them, so if I say, hey, I gave them a 20 and they gave me 3 ones back, then
they can always track it.
And the system is set up for the paratransit that you have to give them exact change, because that avoids any of those type of problems.
So you, the customer, have to give them.
I have to give them the exact fare. My fare costs $3.50. I have to give them $3.50, and I can't request change back. So
it keeps everybody honest.
It keeps everybody honest, and it also minimizes any honest mistakes. So the paratransit systems, they've always been pretty honest with me, and for the most part,
But I mean, the cab drivers, they've like dropped you off in weird places.
That's what I was gonna say. They've dropped me off, across the street. There's like 4 lanes of traffic. I'm trying to get to work. I'm like, no, you have to drop me off here. And it's just about then you just gotta get firm with them and say, hey, you're gonna put me off, or I'm just gonna call the police, or I'm gonna call the dispatcher. I'm gonna call somebody that's gonna get you in a load of trouble. And so I've had those experiences, and people always ask, well, what happened to that cab driver? I actually called the manager of the cab company, and and I quote, he said, how do I know you're not lying? It's just your word against his. People always lie, trying to get money out of us. So I don't believe you, just like you don't believe that he was honest with you. And I was like, okay. I said, so it sounds like to me you're in business of ripping off customers that can't see. But yeah, so that's how I manage my cash and my money, with the system that I developed. So I hope you learned something from this episode. Thanks for watching. Again, don't forget to
like, comment, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. It does help the YouTube algorithm so that other people can see this content as well.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
All right, we hope you enjoyed this episode of
A Blind Guy,
His Wife,
and Their Life.